help. I had my mic over here in front of me. I didn't know whether to play Back in the Saddle again, but we did that after, I don't remember what show.
Yes.
Not too long ago. As Peter Taylor checks in from New York City. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Eman, your host. My co-host, of course, Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club, Julia Vadakin.
Yes.
Here in Studio B, where I think we have a great show today. I really think this is one of our better shows. There's a lot that, since we've been away. I was at Governor's Cup. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there was.
A lot going on. There's Phil Yeoman's checking in from Sydney's northern beaches. Chris Fury, we have a picture of Chris in the show today. Hi from Melbourne. Good to see you back. Yeah, it is good to be back. Hamish Ross is out at his batch in the Coromandel. Beautiful spot, beautiful part of the world. As Larry Kennedy checks in, thank you for letting us have your son, Colin, as part of Gov Cup TV last week, Larry. He says, hola from FIDI, the financial district in New York City. What's the market doing today, Julia? Did you notice?
It's up.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
David James, go Bo Jest, indeed. Good eye from Summery, Plymouth, Michigan. Clark Chapin says, Fritz Mueller's in steamy Miami. And Peter Stevenson, Pedro, a.k.a. Pedro Foiling Sailor, all good down under. And Clark is reminding everybody, Julia, to share. Like, share.
Yes, and Clark is the champion at that.
He is indeed. So let's get on with this thing. I really think this is going to be one of our best shows here in a while. We're back in the saddle. Delighted to be back.
Yes.
And with you, Julia, after a long week, but a fun week yes. Down at
I missed you.
Balboa Yacht Club in the Newport Beach.
Yeah.
And the 59th edition of the Governor's Cup, which will feature here at the top of the show. But let's get carrying on here. The 10th year of Julia and myself doing this webcast we call Sailing Illustrated, Yacht Racing News, Views, and Notables, show number 943. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll start with some sad news today. While we've been away, we had the passing of one of, if not the most celebrated yachting photographer in the world, Carlo Borlenghi, who died at age 70, 1956 to 2026, creator of images that define the modern America's Cup, is the headline that Magnus the Magnificent, our super Fozy Magnus Wheatley, wrote on the LV 38th America's Cup website. These are his pictures and his prose, Magnus that is. For more than 4 decades, Carlo stood behind the lens at the sport's greatest moments, from the graceful 12 meters of Newport to the breathtaking flight of the AC-72 and 75 foiling yachts. He possessed a rare ability to freeze speed, tension, and emotion in a single frame. His photographs did more than record history. They became history. His innate ability to capture both emotion and raw brute force was matched by post-production genius that created images so perfect and so detailed that you almost felt you were there on the boat. Very fine gentleman, very fine artist.
Fabulous
photographer. Pictures. I think that's Fremantle. I think that's a 12 in Frio. What made Carlo exceptional, Magnus writes, was not simply technical brilliance, but an instinctive and deep-rooted understanding of sailboat racing itself. He was born on Lake Como, by the way. He knew where the pressure would build on a start line, when the spray would explode from a bow, as in this photo, when a helmsman's glance revealed victory or defeat. His images carried movement, atmosphere, and humanity in equal measure.
Powerful.
There's a powerful shot. I guess that's an IACC boat. Obviously, Prada, Luna Rossa. Few photographers have become so intertwined with the identity of a sport. Mention the America's Cup over the past 40 years, and in countless minds, the images that appear first are likely to be Carlo Borlenghi's. His legacy is measured not only in the millions of photos he leaves behind, but in the way generations of sailing fans came to understand the beauty, speed, and drama of the America's Cup, both on and off the water, through his eyes and lens. There's one of his most perhaps famous
yeah.
photos.
Yeah. I missed that.
IACC boats racing, not sure where. The yachts will continue to race. The America's Cup will continue to be won, but the man who so often gave those moments their enduring image will be deeply missed. Carlo Borlanghi is survived by his wife Alessandra, family, friends, a lot of friends, and an international sailing community that owes much of its visual history to his extraordinary and rare talent. That's Magnus Wheatley writing on the AC38 website. There's a much longer memorial, really, to Carlo, and just about every sailing publication in the world has written something. And he was just a fantastic guy. He and I were roommates, believe it or not, at several events, several times over the many years, where we'd go to a meeting and we were both there on behalf of Louis Vuitton or something.
Yeah.
So they, as senior citizens, they'd
Right.
stick us in the same apartment, and we have our own bedrooms and share a lounge. Carlo was he smoked constantly.
Yes.
But Hamish Ross is saying, wouldn't his best images make a great book?
Oh,
Clark
yes.
Chapin, lots of spray, but with the sponsor logo still visible.
Right.
As Commodore Harrington checks in from the great state of Maine, you know what she's doing, Julia?
What is she doing?
She's on the New York Yacht Club. I was going to say stag cruise.
Oh, cruise.
It's just the New York Yacht Club cruise.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Bob McD checking in from sunny Tiburon across the bay from us here, and Clay Embley's in the wheelhouse down there in Kentucky, presumably. Ted Ryman checking in. Good morning from, that's Ted from Cape Town, and then Jody Shields, who we're going to have a little segment with from, checking in early this morning, excuse me, in Wanji, north of Sydney. And I can have a little bit of coffee.
Yes.
I won't say it yet. So back to Carlo. He was such a fine guy. He was such a gentleman. And he was just nice, and he smiled, never had an ill word for anything or anybody, got out there, got his work done, came back in, had a glass of wine, and, not a big party boy, just a great artist. And Magnus covered that nicely.
Yes.
Our new super Fozy, Luca Devoti, wrote this. Carlo Borlanghi was known by everyone. He was and Luca's, of course, Italian. He was kind, gentle, and carried that aura of immortality that seemed to come from his photographs. Images that captured the very essence of our passion for sailing, a passion so deep that it will stay with us for as long as we live. Perhaps that is why learning that he is no longer with us leaves such an immense void and fills us with disbelief. There's something extraordinary about photographs. The best ones freeze unique moments forever, preserving emotions and memories long after time has passed. Carlo had the rare gift of capturing exactly those moments, making the fleeting eternal.
How nice. Yeah.
Isn't that nice? That was what made him unique and so very special. May he rest in peace, as the English say, and may he sail on with fair winds. Ciao, caro amico. That's Luca Devoti.
Nice.
Julia, very nice stuff. And I just will close by saying this. Carlo Borlanghi, Italian, 1956 to 2026, may he rest in peace. Okay, Joe, let's get on to happier things. But I'm just happy for having known him, for having enjoyed his photographs, for having been with him on and off at so many different regattas. Did you ever meet him?
I didn't.
You probably did here in San Francisco during the Cup. He covered every Cup since '83.
I don't remember meeting him, and I would think that he is such a presence that I would have.
He wasn't a big presence. That's just, he was calm, humble, kind of behind the scenes. He always had, like Daniel Forster and Sharon Green had long lenses around his neck. But he was so humble and so nice and such a gentle man. You may have met him at a cocktail or at the AC Lounge or something at St. Francis.
Yeah. Well, as I was reading Magnus's opine of him and the accompanying photos, I kept saying, I should just take copies of the photos and put them up. You know, 'cause they were so good. And somebody else wrote about a picture, and it was maybe Luca that did, of a picture he'd taken from a sailboat with a sail with somebody on a bicycle.
Yes.
standing by.
And he took pictures of a lot of other events besides the America's Cup and other sports as well. He just was a magnificent human being, and he will indeed be missed. Our show today is 943 for the 7th of August. We're celebrating Cows Week, 200 years. And what else are we celebrating, Miss Julia?
Well, it looks like beer to me.
It does indeed. Today is International Beer Day. Sharing laughs with friends over a refreshing, bubbly golden pint is a classic recipe for good times and memorable moments.
Yes.
For anyone who wants to take even a little glance around their city, one of the staples that can always be found is a good bar, a friendly pub, or a busy nightclub.
Yeah.
Whether a person is in rural Ireland, busy Hong Kong, the backwoods of Canada, or even in the United Arab Emirates, there is always some place to have a brewski. I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Oh, no.
And this day is perfect for those who do enjoy those drinks and to appreciate the people who make them. International Beer Day. And Julia, you'd think poorly of me.
I would.
Here it is.
This Friday is International Beer Day. But did you know that beer was already celebrated 5,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia? In fact, the first salary slip we know of wasn't for gold or silver, but for beer, which seems crazy when you first think about it, and then just keeps on staying crazy the more you think about it. Beer was so important that the Sumerians had a beer goddess, Ninkasi. And by the time of King Hammurabi, one of history's first lawgivers, there were taverns all over Babylon serving beer to their local neighborhoods. Hammurabi enacted one law that punished tavern keepers that diluted their beer with water, and another law that allowed them to offer beer on credit. So today or any day, when you raise a glass of beer, remember you're part of a 5,000-year-old tradition. Right here is a pomegranate beer called Alapano, which Assyrian kings and queens loved drinking during the Iron Age. It's fruity, sour, and hop-free. Happy International Beer Day.
Pomegranate beer? I thought I was bad for drinking what I call fake beer, NA, non-alcoholic
Well,
beer.
this is fruity and good for you.
I hope so. But it's probably got alcohol in it. Clark Chapin asks, when is International Martini Day? That's his drink
I'll call
of
you up.
choice.
Yeah.
Here's to the horses that pull the Budweiser. Here's to the ribbon on the blue ribbon beer. Here's to the ladies that pour golden rivers that fill the glass of a beer drinking man. David James, I may have met a beer goddess in Thailand. I don't remember exactly. Hamish Ross has done the research. He says that Martini Day is the third Saturday in June. Clark, we missed that. We'll have to catch that up on a Friday next June. There's Brent Bacon. But we have a picture of Brent Bacon in the show today, too. He's back in Tampa. He had a great trip down under. We'll show you why. Traveling today, we'll watch when I can. Everyone have a great weekend. That's Ed Worley, of course, on YouTube. Now, Julia, I couldn't just end with that video.
Why?
I was going to have a can of NA out here, and I was going to drink an NA.
Yes.
Because, the NA wine is terrible, the non-alcohol wine.
Yeah.
And non-alcohol spirits are, with one or two exceptions, are pretty, frankly, crappy.
Yeah.
But the NA beer, the Heineken Zero, the Athletic, which is made in Connecticut and is celebrated in this country at least, a number of others are just fine or quite good. There's, in fact, the dark beer from where? From Ireland. What's the name of that beer? They have an NA version.
Guinness.
Guinness, yes, thank you, that they all say is quite good.
Yes, and German women are asked to drink 2% dark beer to nourish their children.
Really?
Yes.
I wonder if that's
pregnant ladies.
Well, I figured that, but do you think that's a good idea?
Absolutely.
You've never had a beer in your life?
Well, I'd have. Because in the college days, there wasn't anything else to drink.
Why, was that during Prohibition? which ended in what, 38 or 9?
Yes, that
Well,
was
but wait, there's more, Julia.
it.
I dug into some sailing related ads and I couldn't believe how many there were. I just typed in on Google or something,
Yeah.
sailing beer, and up came this ad from 1957 of somebody named Margie McNally, who was designated Miss Rheingold.
Oh, I guess that was it annually.
And she's looks like a blue jay. She's painting her blue jay. And that's just one of many. What do you have?
Oh, yes.
You
Pabst
just,
Blue.
yeah, you just heard Clay Embley talk about PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon, which is that a Wisconsin beer? And it is famous here in this country, along with Stroh's and one or two others, for being an inexpensive but good beer, PBR. Not that I ever drank any. But look at sailing motif. And what are the code flags on the beer steins?
Oh, my.
You see the look, Julia, up over here on the wall are
I
all the
know.
code flags back
Yeah.
here behind us. I can tell you, anybody else in the chat?
CI.
Hamish, close. Drinking zero beer is like drinking alone. No, it's not. It's just fine. You can have a beer is a little more sociable, it seems like, Hamish, than drinking water if you're at the St. Francis Yacht Club bar. So I usually have an NA beer over there. Clark Chapin's got it. Charlie Sierra. That's what those code flags are. And what do they mean? Why are they on those mugs? Charlie Sierra.
Don't know.
I have no idea either, Julia. The truth is, I have no idea. So I did a little research in the New York Yacht Club's Blue Book. And at least New York Yacht Club have Charlie Sierra under their flag protocol. Captains report on board the flagship upon coming to anchor. In other words, you're at the New York Yacht, where Claire is now, the New York Yacht Club cruise,
Yeah.
and you put that up on the flagship, and it's ordering all the captains of all the other yachts to come aboard her flagship. That's what Charlie Sierra means in New York. Yeah, there's Commodore Harrington chiming in with that.
Yeah.
Back on beer for a minute, Clay Embley says light beer is like sex in a canoe. It's like effing. That's terrible, Clayton. I thought he was going to say it's like having my dad's fond of saying it's like having sex in a hammock. I won't deliver that punchline. But there's more. This was one of the first advertisements, and it wasn't during racing. It was on the way in. I think that picture was, maybe the picture was taken in the States, but Dennis Conner flew a Budweiser Spinnaker on his way in Fremantle, because it was not permitted to advertise during racing, but there was no restriction against advertising to and from the course until we wrote it into the sailing instructions later, because Dennis figured that out, and he had Budweiser. And in fact, you may remember watching the 87 America's Cup from Fremantle. They put cameras on the boats under the gooseneck for the first time, and Budweiser sponsored those cams. They were called the Bud Cam. See the great connections we have to beer on our sport? Amber up in Oregon has a beer called Full Sail.
Yes.
And those of you who sailed up in Hood River, that's a big windy place for kites and wing foils and so on. Great place to sail.
It was very popular. St. Francis for a while.
What, this beer was?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. I'm not sure I've ever had one. And of course, sailors are known for having a beer or two, even in the navies of our respective countries way back when. That's what I do. I sail, I drink, and I know things. This T-shirt's available. And just to expand that a bit, the schedule is 6 a.m. coffee, 7 to 5 sailing, and 6 p.m. beer. There's a book on Amazon, Sailing Adventures in the South Pacific's the subhead, and the name of the book is Beer in the Bilges. Real people doing real things.
That's right. That's how you keep it cool.
I guess. This Commodore Vatican is not from Chicago Yacht Club. That's from Columbia Yacht Club, which is next door to Chicago Yacht Club's Monroe Street station. And they have a beer can series, as do a lot of clubs.
Right.
And they advertise their beer can series with this famous painting. And for extra credit, what is that painting? I have it hung here, a litho of it here in the Beach Street Yacht Club.
Yeah.
See who knows that.
It's reminiscent of the French guy.
No, this guy was Dutch. It could be the photographer's initial CS. The first advertising on sale in the America's Cup was a Pepsi sale. Well, it was among the first, was Bud. There's a beer called Edmund Fitzgerald Ale. Okay, I wouldn't want to drink too much of that. I might go down. I've been to the Hood River Brewery just to have full sale, Lance says. Lance Burke. 3 Sheets would be a great name for a beer, Fritz Mueller is saying. There are those who recall the Surgeon General's cigarette warning on an AC Spinnaker in response to tobacco advertising. Yes, well, Van Gogh, Fritz Mueller's got it. He has got the right answer.
Starry Night. Yes.
Starry Night by Van Gogh. Hamish Ross has got the name of the painting. That is all true. The Starry Night, Vincent Van Gogh, 1889. Yeah, people are filling in now.
Yeah.
If you have the actual Starry Night at the BSYC, you should adjust your insurance, David James says. And he goes on and on and on. Old one-ear, Ted Ryman calls him. Where is, Julia, for extra credit, extra credit, where is the Starry Night? Where is it well hung? That deserves a finger wag, doesn't it?
I can only think of bad answers.
I've seen it. Huh? Well, let's think of it. Go ahead. It is hung on display
Yes.
at the MoMA in New York City. Has been for years.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, that's it. You know, you got to cover these things. Go ahead.
The best advertisement for beer, though, are the horses.
The Budweiser
The
horses.
Budweisers, yeah.
I suppose. I told you I was driving across San Francisco during some sporting event that was here, and the Budweiser horses and the what kind of horses are those? Clydesdales, right?
Yeah.
And they were going up the hill from the marina up top of the hill and over. I don't know where they were going from one probably exhibition to another.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get to my shirts to the dry cleaners before something, and I had to stop on like Greenwich, one of the streets, the cross streets, and wait and wait and wait. I thought there's a fire. There's some problem. It was bloody Budweiser. This was not very long ago.
I remember
4 or 5
that,
months ago. Some people think that Van Gogh had glaucoma and that the painting was a case of I paint what I see. Well, I think the more interesting question is, how did beer cans, which is, I don't know if it goes much beyond the U.S., but our Wednesday or Thursday night club racing at a lot of clubs is called the Beer Can Series. And again, I had to check around to see what is the source of this nickname for when casual, admittedly casual Wednesday and Thursday night racing. So I turned to ChatGPT. Who else would you ask, Julia?
Yes.
Besides ChatGPT.
So you used to throw them over the side.
Well, you're right. And it would mark the race course. That's apparently, I mean, people didn't really do that, I hope, but beer can racing emerged in the U.S., according to ChatGPT. In the U.S. sailing scene in the 60s and 70s as a nickname for informal weeknight racing, often Wednesday evenings, organized by yacht clubs and local fleets. The races were deliberately less serious than weekend regattas, short courses, whatever boats and crews were available, and frequently a beer during or more commonly after racing. The name stuck because it captured the point: get out of work, get the boat off the dock, have a race, and have a beer with your mates, have a beer with your competitors afterwards, maybe even during the race. Balboa Yacht Club, I sailed in Balboa Yacht Club's beer can race last Thursday night on It's Okay.
Did you?
The 50-footer. And we don't have beer on It's Okay. It's a higher class thing. We have fancy Chardonnay.
Oh.
But not till we round the top mark. It's usually a westerly. You go uphill, you round the top mark, come back downwind. There's no spinnakers allowed in the bay. in Newport Harbor.
Right.
So you're coming down Wing and Wing or Broad Reaching, and we have a lady. I won't tell you what her nickname is. She, I think, took the nickname herself, Stacy Brandt, and she comes up from below and pours wine for anybody who wants it.
How lovely.
I said, "Where's my fake beer?" She said, "We don't have fake beer on this. We don't have fake beer on this boat."
Yeah.
Come on, Tom, have a glass of wine now. The Bud Clydesdales, yes, David James, thank you. They were here for the Super Bowl, the end of, what was that, end of February?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago. Well, that's all I could come up with on beer and beer can racing in connection to our beloved sport, except Sailing Illustrated, Julia.
Yes.
We have a famously good beer connoisseur among our superfoes.
Oh, we do.
We do. And he checked in with a report this morning.
Oh, good.
Baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark do 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 do, baby shark. Hello, Tom, Julia, and all the foesies out there. Well, you've guessed it. It's Baby Shark, Jody Shields, and one of the dogs here showing you beautiful onesie. And why am I doing this video? Well, I'm glad you asked. Today is International Beer Day. So somebody out there was smart enough to make a day for beer. And I'll tell you what, give that person a Nobel Peace Prize, or should be the president of every country or prime minister of every country, in my humble opinion. Right out there, ladies and gentlemen, is where I learnt to sail. This is Wanji Bay. I learnt to sail as a 14-year-old, and funnily enough, my job as a 14-year-old involved beer. Who would have thought? What my job had to do, I had to get the beer. I had to drink it down to the neck. Like that. I then had to put this glorious bit of gear on it. Stone's Green Ginger Wine. You put this in the bottle, you fill it up, and then you pass it out to the crew. Now, I was 14-year-old when I started doing this, so I don't advise kids to be out there drinking. But I'll tell you what, I had to do this every top mark, and there were 6 people on our boat. 6 beers every top mark, 3 or 4 times. Let's just say I used to go home fairly inebriated. But you know what they say, no good story has ever started by let's go and have a glass of water and come up with a great idea. So here's cheers to International Beer Day.
Our very own beer boffin, Jody
Jesus, sir.
Baby Shark Shields. Look at this. He's really fit too, Julia.
Oh, yeah. Oh. I love it.
We have our own beer boffin, or you know, if you're on a boat serving the beer, I think they'd call you a beer bitch, right?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, you'd be the beer bitch. Denise Ross Peterson, Jeffrey's mom, says Jeffrey was a lot younger during BB beer bitch during beer cans. I didn't know he did that. I don't remember, but Jeffrey always stayed away from the alcohol. Denise. How's that, Julia? Did I say the right thing? No, he did. Honest to God. Clark Chapin, we talked about that. Our own boof head. Hello, lovely Joe. That's Christiane Price down in Sydney. Yeah. Peter Taylor replying to Clark, it's somewhat amazing that this entire output, I think, or close to it, were produced during the 1880s. As they say, it's not day drinking if you don't start before noon. He was only serving, Denise Peterson says, talking about Jeffrey. Thank you very much. Our own Sailing Illustrated beer boffin, Julia.
Oh, right.
Huh?
You got to have one.
Got to have one. Or a beer bitch if he's on the boat with you and he's serving. What was this combination of some kind of a wine that went in on top of the beer?
I don't know. I've never heard
Does
that
anybody
before.
in the chat know what the hell that's all about? Jody's watching, so maybe he can fill us in. And I will, in the meantime, move ahead because I'd never heard of that, Julia. Judy, where did I get that?
Have you met me lately?
Where did I? Well, I've been gone a while. I've forgotten your name. Jeez. Okay, let's get on with a Bravo Zulu here to lead the B block. That was about the longest A block we've ever done, Julia.
Yes.
But I have to say that this event down in Newport Beach last week was fabulous from soup to nuts, from the start to the end. And the sailors were terrific. The sailing was exceedingly close. Everything Andy Rose said about this event and the level playing field with Jeffrey Peterson and Cole Tapper having aged out turned out to be true. And it was a spectacular event, well done in praise of performance to everyone involved in the 59th edition of the Governor's Cup, which took place last week down in Newport Beach. And it is a spectacular event year in and year out. Great kids. I call them kids, even though the age limit's
Young
23.
adults.
Young adults. But some of them are kids, too.
Yes, indeed.
The runner-up, Sienna Nichols, was 17, and this was, I think, her third year. So there are the skippers, 12 teams from 6 nations, and they were all great representatives of their home countries and their home clubs.
Mhm.
It all took place, of course, at Balboa Yacht Club in Newport Beach. There's the big Gov Cup tent. That wasn't a picture from this year, but that's the same tent that gets used year in and year out for the Monday night meet the teams, the traditional event that kicks the thing out. We had a record number of people, 300 something. Christine Gribben, our esteemed Brigada chairman, said. Andy gets the teams up on the stage 2 at a time, Andy Rose, and he gently, politely roasts them. And you've heard all the stories, you've heard them from Andy, and it's great fun. The teams now are so well prepared that they come with their own zingers.
Right.
And we tell them ahead of time who they're going to be paired with. On Monday, Sunday and Monday, I tell them all, I show them their pictures, mostly because I have to be sure I have the
Yeah.
yacht clubs and the names and the country rights, because you can make mistakes.
Yeah.
Not me, but no, I have to double check.
Well, that's hard the first time around. You see everybody all together.
Well, the 60th Governor's Cup, Christian Price says, should be fun next year. Well, and that's true. And there's talk about Andy thinks he might have an alumni regatta, Andy and Christine.
That'd be fun.
And if that's the case, maybe Harry Price will come back.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Taylor saying another fantastic Gov Cup TV effort. We'll get to that in a minute. There's Jody. Stone's Green Ginger Wine. It goes with beer beautifully. Warms your cockles.
Mm-mm.
What? In any event, the Monday night meet, the teams kicks the thing off. The sailors have become very clever, and they have the zingers for their opposing team and for Andy, and are getting better at it. I televise it with a team of young folks, and it's the first of our 10 live shows, live streams, webcasts in 6 days. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. And the 4 finalists, long story short, were, again, 4 of the most terrific young men and women you ever hope to meet in our beloved sport. James Hayhoe from the Royal Sydney Yacht Squadron and Josh Hyde were 4th and 3rd, respectively. Josh, of course, from the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron. There were 4 teams from the RNZ, all terrific sailors. There's James Hayhoe and his crew's names. There's James, and Jameson on that boat.
Right, I remember that.
You remember that from the TV?
Yeah.
We didn't know how in the hell they communicated with each other. J1, 2, and 3, or they did, though.
They had no problem at all.
So they ended up 4th in a toughly fought consolation, the petit finale, against Josh Hyde. James, Jameson, and Jameson Prescott and James Hopkins. Bravo Zulu to them. 4th place. Josh Hyde, who led at the end of the rounds robin and barely lost a race all week. He ended up 3rd. Josh, Oliver Lloyd, and Vasilis, which he goes by Vas or Vas. Katsitis, nice Greek name. Great kids, great guys. I really enjoyed getting to know them. They were at I get to the club early to set up the 9 o'clock show, and there's a couple, Christine is there, and a couple other people, the staff of the club. Those kids were the first one there every morning, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, sitting at the same table. They'd have their breakfast, and you get to chat with them a little bit and get to know them because of that. And Josh has been there before. We've had Josh on this show,
Yes.
so I think we can call him a foes. He did and you it's like Jeffrey Peterson. These kids are little twerps, and then they get their heads start to grow, and then they settle into being very nice, modest, humble,
Human beings.
focused human beings. And
Yes.
certainly Josh and his crew are that. I was just fabulous.
Yes, they were all
performance.
Terrific.
If I go on here, I just tell you that this pairing, we were astonished. Morgan was in deep doo-doo. He looked like he was going to finish 7th going into the last day of round, because you do 2 rounds robin, and then the top 4 teams advance to the semis. But going into the last day, were 2 flights left in the rounds robin, double round robin, and Morgan was 7th. But by a combination of him winning his last 2 matches and others not doing so well that were ahead of him, he ended up tied for 4th and then won on the tiebreak. So he got into the semis. Sienna Nichols, who'd sailed a little bit better all week, ended up 3rd. And as you know, in match racing, the first place boat, in this case Josh Hyde, gets to choose which of the other teams they will race. He will race in their semifinal, 2 semifinals. He wisely picked Sienna, not Morgan. But he got beaten by, I think it was wise. It was a wise call. Morgan's tough. He just won the Youth World Match Racing Championship. Sienna's 17, and she was a bit, eyes, deer, the deer eyes and the eyes of the, what's that saying?
Yeah.
And the
Caught in the headlights.
Caught in the headlights. A deer caught in the headlights. And she was, when we did the semifinal press conference, her body language, and I should have restaged it actually, because we have 4 chairs up on the stage, and she was in the end chair down by the Gov Cup and leaning toward the Gov Cup and away from the others of us that were on stage. But she just is a tough, hard-nosed gal and a brilliant sailor at age 17. She won against Josh, despite having been chosen as the 3rd place instead of the 4th place. But I think he knew that Morgan was going to come on strong, and indeed Morgan did come on strong. Sienna continued to sail beautifully. This is in the finals against, you can see the Newport Harbor N up on the penny on the bib in front. And Sienna and her team ended up losing 3 straight in the finals to Morgan Pinckney. And she nonetheless, she's going to win this thing.
Oh, yes.
And she was terrific. Sienna's there in the middle with the trophy, 3rd from the left of the sailors. Maddie Nichols is her twin sister to her left, our right. That's Commodore Duarte there. And then, of course, Christine Gribben, the Vice Commodore, on the far left. Then Eddie Kleem is on the left of the sailors, and Kai Brennan, the tallest of them all, the gal there, 3rd from the left in the photo. Terrific group. Had a long chat with Kai Brennan the last night we were there, and she could not have been more graceful, grateful. These kids, they're astonishing. And I think Peter Taylor will vouch for me, because he deals with them at Oak Cliff, a lot of the same crews. In fact, 4 of these Gulf Cup teams are there now.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I think 4 of them are at Oak Cliff at this grade, whatever it is, 2 match racing tournament that's going on there now. They had to fly Monday or Sunday and get out there to start racing.
I knew one of them was. I didn't know 4 of them were. Yeah.
Bravo Zulu to Sienna and her team. And there is Morgan. They both sailed 4 up. There was a lot of discussion about whether, because you have the option of sailing 4 up or 3 up, there is a maximum weight. But they won all 3 of the. He was hot. Once he got into the top 4, the final 4, you knew he was going to be tough. They had big hugs after winning 3-0. Went in and hoisted the Governor's Cup at the prize giving, and it's Morgan Pinckney far right, Sabrina Anderson far left, Cam Spriggs 2nd from the left, and Kelly Holtis, whose dad owns Bad Pack. He's a friend from San Diego, and Kelly's also. They're all personable, warm, friendly, and terrific sailors. That goes without saying. So Morgan, Sienna, Josh, James, Daniel Kemp, who was another great team from Australia. He was 5th. Sam Scott, another Kiwi, was 6th. Christian Prendergast from Chicago, 7th. Peter Herlihy from New Bedford Yacht Club here in this country in Buzzards Bay, 8th. Ethan Fong, another Kiwi, 9th. Theo Vesterland from Sweden, 10th. Andre Dassault, talk about a nice group of kids. Especially nice, especially friendly to everybody. They're from Canada, the West Vancouver Yacht Club. And Victor Melchior, Simon Christensen, and Mikkel Kruger. Anderson from Denmark, also maybe favorites of everybody who were involved. I also should say that Gov Cup TV is like the race committee. It's all volunteers, 19 volunteers in our case, most of them under 30 years old, and most of them with us for the second or third or even fourth year in a row, which is one of the reasons why you can pull off something like this. If you don't have a collective team like a race committee under leadership that persists or evolves well, and Chris Bretschker has been the executive producer. He gathers all these kids and adults up. You can see Peter's mom and dad there in the lower right corner. That's Chris's parents, Staff Commodore Peter Bretschker and Kari Bretschker, who host us on their yacht Adios. And Julia, as you may know, they postponed selling the boat. They were going to sell it a few years ago, and they're keeping it now at least through 2028 so we can have it as our media boat, our TV boat for Gov Cup.
Oh, it's a great service, but
What else? Gosh, Balboa needs a beer sponsor to keep up with you. I don't know about that. Green Ginger, okay, and Peter Reckenberg checking in. Reckenberg from Geelong. Apologies for being late. Thanks for checking in, Peter. Okay, that's our Gov Cup report here in the B block. And we want to go on now. A little America's Cup news before we get to John Emmett. And here, have a look at this. First of all, in the AC38 Cup date is this video from ETNZ.
Great day here in New Zealand. We really lucked out with the weather. We got sort of big range of conditions from 7 knots all the way up to 15, and good day sailing really. We haven't sailed the 75 for a little while, and things have been chipping away in the background. So every day on the water, we need to be learning stuff, and we need to be moving the program forward. So yeah, I guess we've got a short block now through this little period, and then we'll be off again. So just chipping away and trying to make the most out of it, really. We spent a bit of time chasing the breeze around today. So yeah, a little bit of commuting out there, but no, I think we managed to make the most of it, and there's some good calls on where to hunt around for that breeze. I think you'll get a good range of conditions in Naples. But yeah, I mean, definitely through that period, sort of sea breeze days. But I mean, we don't have a weak area, so we're happy with what we get, basically. We sort of look at the bottom end, and we also need to get good at sailing in a bit more breeze as well. Luna Ross has been doing a lot of days, and they're throwing the boat around and looking very impressive. So it's good to see. And then the French have been out a little bit, but I don't think they've been out back since the capsize. So hoping to see them back out on the water soon.
If any of you read Richard Gladwell, he covers this recon stuff for all the teams, not just ETNZ, but for all the teams, like a cheap suit. I mean, not Richard's writing is not cheap. The guy's among the best in the world, but he covers this so intensively.
yes.
And he tells us that the Kiwis are going to be back on the water before we know it, before the Kiwis give any information. He's really on top of the game. I commend sail-world.com to you for these kinds of updates. But this video just from Ian Jensen Goobs, the Australian medalist, and now he's with Team New Zealand. These guys are so far ahead of everybody else. They are maybe a full year ahead of everyone, with the possible exception of Luna Rosa. We don't know how well they've done revamping their boat, but you can see here,
Yeah.
they are, in fact, this video, I think this video was called, I think it was entitled, "We Don't Have Any Weak Areas." Where we have very few, no, we don't have any weak areas, something like that.
Yeah.
When I pulled it off, it's just today, I just found it today. So Bravo Zulu to Team New Zealand, but they are going to be some tough to beat, as they have been now for
Forever.
three cups in a row.
Yeah.
Jody says it seems like they're sailing with more windward heel. Well, I think that's true. All the teams have been doing that, and just like a windsurfer, an IQ foil, it's clearly faster to do that, sail the boat to windward at least a bit. Now, there's been a fair bit of talk about this cup. We asked the kids at Gulf Cup last week, Julia, how many, and I can't remember if it was a morning show or if it was one of the press
Andy
conferences.
did, yeah.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Andy said, okay, we got to get into this. All of you, how many of you like what you see in the America's Cup in terms of the boats, the competition? One hand went up. One hand, and it was a boat rigger, a boat professional, a moss sail. I can't remember.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't know.
In the back of the
Yeah.
back of the crowd, I got a big cover cam up over the top of us. Look at my hand. I'm looking like over the top, so I can shoot the audience and get the faces of everybody. And one hand went up, and then Andy said, "Now, okay, to be fair, some of these kids are trying to suck up to Andy
Right.
and or me. Just, they all want to be invited back next year if they haven't aged out. So the boats are great and Balboa Yacht Club's great. But in this case, I think they're pretty sincere because, as Andy keeps saying, I sail with all these young guys, with the Tyler Wolks and with the Pat Liebers and the Chris Bretschkers on the 50-footer.
Yeah.
And unlike his era, his generation, where they'd go sail in the Maxis and then get the call up to go sail in the America's Cup because the boats were more or less the same.
Right.
That's not happening now.
Mm-mm.
That's not happening. And these kids all, when Andy said, well, would you like to see some 80-foot monohull, lightweight, planing monohull with sails going up and down, they all, and not just put their hands up, they let out a big, wild applause.
Yeah.
Now, apropos that, during Cows Week, the Foil has done some interviews, including with a famously good, former America's Cup guy, famously good trimmer. I'm going to play that video now to see what you all think.
Are they really interested in the current America's Cup? No. Our sport is changing. It is always metamorphing into a different sport. I fully understand that. We've gone from wooden boats, wooden masts, to fiberglass boats with tin rigs. We've gone to carbon boats with carbon masts. We've gone from Dacron sails to carbon sails. The big problem for me is foiling for a lot of our sailors. It means nothing. They will never experience it. Their yacht club can't cope with it. Why the America's Cup is in foiling boats with a limited crew? Woeful.
Why is it woeful?
Well, because there's no trickle down. I don't think many people can assimilate with it. And when you look around here and you speak to some of the top professionals that are here, most of which have done the America's Cup, are they really interested in the current America's Cup? No.
So the best period of the America's Cup for you was when?
GBR Challenge 2003, when you were schooling up a young Freddie Carr, beating him up every day in the sail loft. Am I right?
No, that's a low light.
Okay.
That, of course, is Freddie Carr, who's one of the principals in the Foil, one of the journalists. Simon Stir-Fry, as he's known, Simon Fry, who is a famously good trimmer, but he's sailing on the TP52 Gladiator this week at Cows Week. Mm-hmm. And I regret to say it. I mean, I've been saying it for months, if not years, but this is the attitude of, tell me what, 95% of the people in the sport, 98% of the people in the sport. Mm-hmm. And David James is just saying, this may not be a representative sample. David, who's from the Bay Area here, has subbed for Julia, in fact, on this show once or twice. But I am at either San Francisco Yacht Club or St. Francis Yacht Club 4 days a week, and I have not heard anyone mention the America's Cup this year. Mm-hmm. And sadly, I think, as you just heard from Stir Fry, from Simon Fry, I think it's true all over the world. And why do we keep doing this to ourselves? We wonder why the sport's doing this a little bit. Well, it's because our top event, no one relates to it. He used the word, no one assimilates to it, but
Yeah.
same difference. I think that's what he meant. Then he was asked, Simon Fry was asked, what would you do if you were king of the America's Cup?
If you were king of the America's Cup for 4 years, what kind of boat would you put the America's Cuppers in?
80 foot, let's say 16 crew, human powered winches, relatively light displacement, high stability, planing downwind, and you have to have flying sails. You have to change sails at every mark.
Seeing sails go up and down.
An understanding for Joe Bloggs, who sails a Westerly Wombat, and he stands at the bar, and he doesn't know at the moment in Sail GP or the Cup whether the boat's going upwind or downwind.
I struggle with that.
I struggle with that, and I'm on the bloody boat.
Yeah, but that's because you had your head up someone else's backside.
Yeah, all right. Family-friendly podcast, Simon.
The guy is, I don't know if you ever met Simon. He's very obviously clever, and he's just got a huge personality and a lot of fun. But again, this is the attitude. You've heard Andy Rose say the same thing. You've heard any number of people on this show,
Right.
Hamish Ross. I don't know if Dr. McIrvin has said this, but any number of people say we got to get it into big boats that people assimilate with and relate to.
It's probably in an interpretation of improving the physical part of sailing. So if you do that, one answer was to change it completely.
That's right. They thought go foiling, and Russell thinks the same thing, that Sail GP will attract all these non-sailors because it's fast and crash and burn, and like we call NASCAR here, rubbing is racing. Well, I think what's happened is we've lost the core audience, all of the sailors that do and have followed the America's Cup or used to follow the America's Cup. Yeah, but that's Simon Fry, Stir Fry, as he's known on the foil, during Cows Week this week. Nice interviews. Now, I'm going to say one more thing about this topic before we move on. You know who that is?
No.
That is Andrew Dolly Davola. That's
it is.
Dolly from Australia. Now, look at, he's lifting that boat by himself.
Wow.
And he said...
That's his new boat.
You probably saw it in the Super Fuzzy chat. He says, my first baby of my new project has been born, a bouncing baby carbon Nomex skiff, 18 kilograms. 18 kilograms. Mm-hmm. And very healthy. Father is excited and doing well. So I fired back. I said, is it a new 18-footer? And he said, no, it's the 16-footer skiff class. And I said, what, no foils? And he shot back this picture and he said, no need for foils, Tom. And that's, that's in line with what Simon Fry was and Andy Rose and lots of other people are saying. Let's get a box rule 80-footer, a TP 80. We wouldn't call it that.
Yeah.
With sails going up and down, that, sails upwind like we all do, zigging and zagging with a jib and a main, and turns the top mark or turns the gate and comes downhill flying with a gennaker, and the gennaker has to be hoisted. Yep. And real crew. He said 16, I think, but real crew doing real work, not push-button sailing with batteries and computers.
Right.
Nobody relates to it. Chris Fury down in Melbourne. That's why I watched the TP52 Super Series. Real sailors on relatable boats.
Yeah. I think right now they do have the best. Indeed.
Hamish is saying down in New Zealand, it's true. Few can be bothered now. Hamish is coming on the show, Julia.
Oh, good.
We haven't set a date yet, but he had some pretty pointed things to write after the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron lost their Kowal Island station.
Right.
And that's just a tragedy because that was a great spot.
Right.
But they can't afford it. Their membership numbers are down. Their finances are suspect, so they've had to sell that. He equated it to New York Yacht Club selling Harbor Court. I'm not sure it's quite that major, but it is significant. Hamish is going to come on. We're going to talk about the future of the America's Cup when we know more about what's going on in New York.
Yes.
Which I'll tell you a little bit about in a moment. The difference between NASCAR and Sail GP, Clayton Embley says, is that fans can drive a V8 Mustang or Camaro. They can drive a muscle car, but they can't drive a foiling catamaran, an F50. Nice work, Dolly. Peter Reckenberg is saying, yeah, it is nice work.
Yes.
And they have the 18s. A lot of people outside of Australia don't realize there's also the 16s, which is what Dolly was holding over his head. And I think, is there a 14 and a 12? These skiffs are magnificent. And you wonder why so many good sailors come out of Australia.
Right. And they're so much fun to watch. Oh, the 18-footers in Sydney Harbor.
Indeed. No need for foils, Tom. That's Andrew Dolly Devola, a super Fozzie from Australia. I'll wrap this all up by saying, again, sadly, this very fine yacht club with a lot of terrific members down in that beautiful city of sails, the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, is completely ass over tea kettle. They're completely upside down. They are the worst trustee in the not just the modern history, in the history of the Cup. And I think they're about to have a comeuppance in the state of New York. I'm not sure. It may happen. It may not happen. And even if the Attorney General and or the courts intervene, who knows? It could be nothing. It could be a slap on the wrist, or it could be major. But the state of New York Attorney General, just for your all information, is an active group. Remember, they're the ones that went after Trump and the Trump University and took that down. They're not afraid of big deals. In fact, maybe this deal seems to them like, America's Cup charity. What's this, a silly sailboat race? But I noted today on their website that they're hiring now a new deputy bureau chief for the Charities Bureau. That's the bureau that oversees the America's Cup. A deputy bureau chief and a couple other people, including a transactions section chief being hired. You can apply for that, Julia. The deadline, this other deadline is today.
Too late.
Well, you can still application deadline today. I wonder if Hamish Ross is applying for either of these jobs. The transactions sections chief. Time will tell. And it's a sad state of affairs. And until the America's Cup gets sorted out, we're just going to be pooping along, marking time, I think, as a sport. Cows Week, however, we're going to celebrate that. It's been a fantastic event, but let's first check in with John Emmett in the coaching corner. Super Fozzie John Emmett in a tent city, Julia.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozzie, and a big thank you to my camera lady Lily, who's helping record this, and a big welcome to Luca Devotti, one of the new Super Fozzie. So it's always good to have these conversations. Now, I was going to say, can you guess where I am? But I think I'm going to tell you, or at least I'm going to try and pronounce the name. So I'm at the Lakes, the Lake District, and this is Basselthwaite, so commonly known as Baswick. And this is just Lily's style, where you sleep in the camper van as close as you possibly can to the boat. So it's a very special event, week of sailing. And for, people like me who live on the south coast, that it seems a little bit far north. Lily was just thinking that 7 hours in a car is a long way to drive, but I told her I was quite used to driving to, Split, Palmer, etc. But it's been really good to be up here. Going to go to Ullswater as well at the weekend, another fantastic venue. So we'll be doing a few John Emmett sailing talks, but just the sense of community of everybody camping around here. It's a really, really nice thing. And I think we need to think very carefully that sailing isn't all about the Olympics or the America's Cup or Sail GP. Actually, it's mainly grassroots, and it's been really nice to bump into old friends, and I can say that literally. I've reached a time in my life where I'm going to a lot of 50th birthday parties at the moment, but some of the people I've sailed against in, 30 years. And this longevity of the sport is something else which is very important. Being Olympic class is not a be-all and end-all. In fact, sometimes I think for classes that have been an Olympic class when they're no longer Olympic class, it can be pretty bad news. And becoming an Olympic class in the first place for non-Olympic class is not necessarily a good thing either. But a good example of a class that has been in Olympics and still continues to go strong is the Starboat. And I think the Star Sailors League is another thing that I would really like to focus on, because I think they do the sailing part very well. And I think in terms of promoting our sport, being easy to explain is very important to educate people. I mean, I think about tennis, it's got a funny scoring system. I think it's probably based on the clock or whatever, with 15, 30 and all the rest of it. But it creates that little bit of drama with lots of set points. And I think it's just about telling the story and telling the champions. But the Star Sailors League is another good example of a league that is doing all the right things. Now, I'm probably going to need to wrap it up shortly because my camera lady's still in a wetsuit and wants to go and get changed. But these sailing weeks are really important. And I think to go away and meet other sailors, whether it's your national championships, a fun week, we have lots of youth weeks in the UK, so people see people of a similar age is such a nice thing. And with that, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun.
He's complaining about going to a lot of 50th birthday parties.
I know. Little does he know.
Wait till he's going to a lot of 70s and 80s
I know.
birthday parties.
I know.
Great report. And,
Yes.
you know, I didn't stick it into the slides, but it's now been announced by World Sailing that there are four classes that are under review
Mm-hmm.
for the next next Olympics. The 470,
Mm-hmm.
which is the oldest class now in the Olympics, the NACRA,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got the kites,
Yeah.
men, and kites women, which everybody thinks are going to be replaced by the wing foil, which
Right.
you've seen out here on San Francisco
course.
Bay, has gone from kiting in great numbers to virtually no kites and all wing foils, because the wing foil is in the athlete, the sailor, and the boat,
Yeah.
the sail, the wing are all in the same shot, and you don't get the wings tangled up and so on and so forth.
Right.
Well, we'll see what that happens. There's a big push. John Sangmeister called me this morning. By the way, Sangmeister, our super Fozy, bless his heart, he's driving his son William
Yes.
from here, from California, but
Yeah.
from Long Beach, to his new uni, which is the University of Miami, Florida.
Miami.
And
right.
they're driving.
Uh-huh.
Well, he loves to drive. And he gets to spend some quality time with his youngest son. And
Yeah.
they stop at some of these fancy gas stations. He sent me some pictures this morning.
And didn't they go to Route 66? Did they do that?
No, I don't know about that, but I think they're on the interstate. But
Okay.
John tells me this morning, I don't have anything other anecdotally or otherwise, but they're trying to run these regattas, first of all, in Long Beach, which we covered with Lisa Meyer extensive. One of our biggest shows in terms of viewership, by the way.
Right.
People like the Olympics.
Yes.
And they like the future. And then because they split the venue between Long Beach and San Pedro and put the boats up.
Yeah.
San Pedro is, I'm sorry to say this, it's one of the most dangerous communities, neighborhoods in all of LA. They've got the two clubs, which are great, nice old yacht clubs without enough resources. They said they were going to have $30 million to run this event. They don't have a pot to piss in, unfortunately. So they're trying to beg, borrow, and steal boats. They don't have enough volunteers for the race committee. The kids, the sailors, are racing in San Pedro up and around the corner, but still staying in Long Beach, a lot of them, because it's so much more pleasant. It's safer. They can train down there, big picture, long term.
Right.
And a lot of times the wind doesn't come up till late, comes up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's a shiza show. I'm sorry to say it. Plus, one is hearing that the IOC is looking at us, Julia, as a sport, saying, why do you have to have two venues?
Yeah,
You're so expensive to put on anyway. We don't get any TV revenue from you.
Yeah.
So why do you have two, not one, but two different venues? Which, of course, is crazy, because we should be doing it all at one venue at Long Beach, as we've been saying on this show all along.
Of course.
There's still a chance that might happen.
I was going to say it'd be much smarter to do that.
I mean, what is there in San Pedro? A huge port, one of the largest ports in the world.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think it's larger. It's the largest port I think it's the largest port on the West Coast.
I think it is too.
By quite considerable number, whether you do it by tonnage or by ships in and out. So you got that problem. They're fixing the bridge that goes from kind of the mainland into the island that supports the port. Now the traffic is just outrageous.
Yeah.
And even if that bridge were working, to try to drive anywhere on into San Pedro from any place can take hours.
Yes.
Just because of the traffic and because of LA. What else is there? A prison. I'm sorry, but it's not correct.
Is there some way we can recognize those clubs, and get their approval to join the the venue in Long Beach?
Well, they're not going to. The clubs are all, they want to do this. They're going to get money. They're going to rehab their clubhouses. They hope, they think. But we shall see. So he's talking about the Star Sailors League, because that's not in Starboats now. That's in what are basically RC-44s. And they've taken the RC-44s, modified them. This gentleman in Switzerland.
Oh, yeah, I did read that.
And we've done the quarterfinal. Are they up to the quarterfinals? But this is like FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
This is nation versus nation, and it's doing very well. And they're going to have a big grand finale here. We're in Brazil, is that right? So this whole Olympic thing, I'm sorry to say, is in play. And we'd like to get our sport back in the Paralympics. But we got problems just staying in the Olympics, I think.
Yes.
And we shall see. I think we've made some big mistakes here going forward. But let's leave that for another day. We're going to have a session, a live panel discussion sometime sooner than later with John and other Olympians and Olympic aspirants to talk about what we as a sport should be doing. John Emmett, get to the front of the fleet, his regular coaching corner. And we always like to say at the end of his coaching corner, push hard, help us. And there's some good news. This may be happening better than we thought, that sailing will get back in the Paralympics, at least as a demonstration event for 2032 down in Brisbane. One can only hope. The Aussies are working hard on that, as is World Sailing. Okay, now to Cows Week. I don't know if you've ever been to Cows Week, Julia, but I was there during Admiral's Cup when I was the rules advisor to the American team several times. But this year, last year, the Admiral's Cup came back thanks to Dr. McIrvin,
Yes.
Mr. Doctor, and his international panel and the Royal Ocean Racing Club. They brought it back after 22 years. Huge success. It'll be back next year. Cows Week has been around for 200 years, as you can probably see on the lower third. They've had a massive celebration this year, big turnout, good weather, yada, yada, yada.
Great.
And if you've never been,
Not for that.
everybody should punch their ticket. That is something that, if you have what's that called? You've got a list,
A bucket list.
a bucket list.
Yeah.
That should be on every sailor's bucket list to go to Cows Week, and ideally sail. But even if you just go to Cows, everybody who's anybody, at least in British yachting, and maybe
there.
is there.
Yeah.
Now I have Matthew Sheehan's Planet Sail video. It's long. It's 16 minutes, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. But go to his YouTube channel, Matthew Sheehan Planet Sail, to see the rest of this video. I'll play maybe 4 or 5 minutes of it, because he covers the history, tradition, the boats. Well, you see, and beautiful video.
It's 2026, it's Cows Week, and it's a special one because it's the 200th anniversary of this world famous regatta. 200 years doesn't make it the oldest regatta in the world, not by actually quite some margin, but it is the most famous regatta of its type in the world. And every time I come here, I get reminded why. the range of boats from Flying 15s right the way up to some of the biggest boats around, Grand Prix boats, race boats, cruising boats, wooden boats, classic boats. It's more of a festival of sailing in many ways than just a straightforward regatta. But this year is special not just because it's its 200th, but as far as I'm concerned, and I think as far as many other people feel, it's great to see Cowes Week on, how would you say, a bit of a recovery. Because it is no secret that over the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, the event has been in decline. It's had its challenges like so many other events have. COVID didn't do it much good, didn't even happen in that year. And it's difficult. There are all kinds of reasons why Cowes has struggled over the last few years. But this year, it's come bouncing back. They've got 630 entries, maybe more, this year, and that makes it look a whole lot better. And it seems like every class has sort of expanded, and the racing has been absolutely superb. So, we came over here. Of course we did. I've been at pretty much every single one since I was a kid. It's not something I would ever want to miss. And we've been asking people what Cowes Week means to them.
Cowes is the crankiest place to sail, with wind from various directions, tides all over the place, difficult courses.
Okay, Matthew does a great job of interviewing people now, and I think now that you've gotten the setup, there's Ben Ainsley.
And every event, you come away with special memories, both on and off the water. So really, really proud of Cowes Week and what it means to our British sailing history.
We learned a lot.
And I think we have to say congratulations to North Sails because they have sponsored it this year. And that was one of the problems in the past is that Cowes lost its title partnership or sponsors. But here's the history. It goes back. And, of course, the late, great Queen's husband,
Yes, Philip.
Prince Philip, sailed in this regatta. We've even seen pictures of Charles, of King Charles, sailing in this. And of course, his sister Anne, whom I know from the RYA and so on, was there this week.
Oh, good.
It wraps up today. Fantastic. There she is, in fact. Just the Princess Royal. Just a fantastic event. There was Bertie Bickett, who's the Commodore now of the squadron. And it is most impressive indeed. And we've got some other videos here to run, so I think I'll switch back to our friends. Here, have a look at this video.
You did the first one, didn't you? 200 years ago?
I did 197 years ago with my first one.
Okay, yeah.
This Freddie Carr again and Simon Fry.
200 years of Cowes Week is awesome. Phenomenal regatta, should be in the social calendar, in the sporting calendar. It's embraced technology, sportsmanship, elite behaviour.
Elite behaviour is right.
It's cool, it's cool. Yeah. And it's great to see the town so busy.
Racing's amazing, isn't it? The Solent's the best race course in the world. All the people come from the Med and it takes them about half the week to get their head around the tides. All the racing marks. It's wicked. Every single race day is different, a different challenge, different sail combinations. You start on the squadron line, which feels a little bit special, so all around the top week.
I think the selection of classes means that pretty much everyone can sail in a boat that they're comfortable in. Yeah. As Freddie says, the courses, the variants, the provenance, the history, there's no comparison.
Yeah, it's the mixture of sailors. You get your people doing their first regatta ever, and then sailing legends like Simon Fry, and we're all on the same race course.
Freddie Carr and Simon Fry, both. You see the GBR, I put a little S after it because that means they're both GBRs. Great video. And we say here that this is a video world now. And the Foil, I think, is doing a good job with video. It's a new, entry this year really into the sailing media. Mm-hmm. We're doing video. Others increasingly are doing video, including North Sails, including Harkin. In fact, North Sails have been doing a video every day. I haven't seen today's the last.
From this.
From this. This is the last day. I haven't seen a wrap-up video from them yet. We'll probably have that in the next 12 to 24 hours, and I'll play it on Tuesday's show. But I do have the video of North Sails of Cowes Week from yesterday, which is equally, I think, fun.
Yesterday, the Solent delivered some of the finest racing of this year's regatta. Carl Kwok's TP52 Beau Jest claimed the prestigious Britannia Cup, finishing just over a minute on corrected time ahead of Eno Veritas. As the racing came to an end, the celebrations moved ashore. Sailors, friends and supporters gathered at the North Sails Cows Week competitor party, where stories from the racecourse were shared over live music, good company, and another fantastic evening at North Sails Cows Week. This morning, the focus shifts ashore. It's Royal Navy Day, and from the parade to the yacht haven, the Cows is alive once again with the people, atmosphere and tradition that make North Sails Cows Week so special.
I'm here with the Royal Navy at the Royal Navy stand. It's great to have the Navy here in the public eye, to be engaging with people, hopefully helping people understand how important the Navy is to maritime security, because that's where your data comes in, your food comes in, your clothes come in and your fuel comes in.
We are a maritime nation, and connecting the nation with the sea is a really important mission for the Royal Navy. Something like Cows Week gives us an opportunity to make that connection. So I think the one thing the Royal Navy does is it is agnostic of background, it's agnostic of social status. It is an opportunity for everybody to be the best of themselves. I come from a very humble background and I've managed to rise to the top of the Royal Navy, and I want that opportunity to be available to anybody.
Well, I'm Robin Knox Johnston, and this is my boat, Suhaili. It's the first yacht to ever go non-stop around the world. And I think one of the reasons Cows Week works is that, one, you've got the very good racing, but you've also got a good social scene as well. So people can go out, have a good hard day's racing, come back in, relax, speak to other sailors, explain how they were lucky to beat you and how you were unlucky not to beat them. I would say to any young person who shows any interest in sailing, find how you start, go to a yacht club and ask. Because I find most people, if they want to do it, they're going to enjoy it, and they end up being sailors for the rest of their lives. And they end up being good company as well.
If the result of this week is nothing more than we manage to get a few more people on the water and we expose this sport to a few more people to help them believe in it, then I think that's a real success for all of us who are involved in this amazing activity that is sailing.
Beautiful video, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Right, this is, of course, the bicentenary, as the Brits call it. 200 years of Cows Week, and North Sails, I think, has been a terrific sponsor from everything I'm hearing. And it's just been a marvelous event. Wraps up today, and hopefully we'll have another video like, I mean, what a great video was that?
Really good.
You got Robin Knox Johnson.
Yes.
You've got the Navy. You got those beautiful shots, and just like that video we opened with of Matthew Sheehan's. Great stuff. Ed Kreise in Detroit, actually in Michigan, my home state, saying, epic event, do it if you can. Ted Ryman, or is it, I said Kreise, but I think I don't know if he pronounces it Kreise like it's Anglo, but it's the German would be Kreise. Ted Ryman, Cows Week was our go-to pilgrimage for 10 years.
Wow.
Best sailing in the world. Justin Palm is congratulating Jim Murray and his team. I don't know if that's a SoCal team. I saw Justin down at Gulf Cup. Nice to see him after several years. So on and on and on, and bravo Zulu to them, but one coda, as we would say in the musical world. Julie, you know who that is? It's a super Fozy on the helm. It's Magnus the Magnificent.
Oh,
sailing his Flying Fox.
Yes.
And remember, we made fun of him for having the NYYC and the Cows Corinthian Yacht Club names backwards on the, because you got to put the oldest club first. He's fixed that.
Yeah,
so,
we saw that.
So congratulations to Magnus. But this was earlier this week when he had a top 10 finish. And this is a classic yacht. It's overweight. It's not one of the more modern boats. He bought it. It's wood. It fixed it up. So bravo Zulu to him.
Mm-hmm.
And there is another shot of him today.
Wow.
I believe it's yesterday. I believe it's today. And he calls his boat the Fantastic Fox, after Uffa Fox, who designed the boats. And he says that the mighty Fantastic Fox that got a 6th today, which is a massive result for a classic. It is indeed. Congratulations, Magnus, the Magnificent. And that wraps up our report on cows celebrating 200 years of British yachting, Julia.
That's really great. You cannot look at that and now want to say, oh, I'd like to do that.
Indeed. Sorry, I got the music a little loud over your voice there.
I know.
What is happening, Julia? What did happen today? Speaking of British yachting, the 7th of August, there is a method to my madness, you know.
I'm sure there is.
7th of August in 1588.
1588.
Would you like a clue?
Mm-hmm.
There's your clue. How's that for a clue? On this day,
the battle.
It was a battle between who and who?
And 15.
Between whom and whom?
Well, the British and the Spanish.
Yes, Julia, you got it again. Well done. That is. I got to turn that off. That's croutonic. I stopped doing that. English and Spanish fleets clash in the Battle of Gravelines in this historic painting by Philip James de Lutherberg. Lutherberg. Do you know that name?
No, no, I don't.
Do you speak Dutch? Do you speak French?
German.
I know, but that's, I think, French. Yes, Clayton Emily's got it. Defeat of the Spanish Armada. Clark Chapin, Sir Francis Drake defeats the Spanish Armada. Well done, Julia Vedekint. Yeah, you got it. And here, of course, Julia, so that you're not thinking any more poorly of me than you usually do, is a video.
In 1530, Henry VIII was King of England, and when his desires to father a son proved unsuccessful and his wife became too old to have more children, he asked the Pope for permission to divorce her so he could bring Mary, but the request was declined. Henry divorced her anyway, and the Act of Supremacy was passed, making him head of the Church of England, a Protestant form of Christianity. When Henry died, his 9-year-old son, Edward VI, became king, and the country became even more Protestant. Edward died 6 years later, and when his sister Mary, a Catholic, took the throne, she made the country Catholic again. She also married Philip, the King of Spain, a Catholic nation. When Mary died, her sister Elizabeth became queen, and England moved back to being a Protestant country. Mary's widower Philip declared Elizabeth an illegitimate ruler, and he is thought to have supported plots to remove her from the throne. In retaliation, Elizabeth supported the Dutch revolt against Spain and funded privateers to raid Spanish ships. On the 9th of May 1588, Philip gave the order to launch the Spanish Armada with the aim of landing 30,000 Spanish soldiers in England. English ships were faster, more maneuverable, and had better sailors, but they chose to give the Spanish fleet distance, so little fighting took place. The Spanish commander should have been the highly experienced Marquis of Santa Cruz, but he died in February and was replaced by Medina Sidonia, a soldier with no naval experience. The most famous English commander was Sir Francis Drake, and on the 7th of August, while the Spanish fleet were moored in Calais, he sent fire ships packed with inflammables which were set alight amongst them, forcing them to cut their moorings and flee into the night, causing them to scatter. The English now had the upper hand as fighting broke out in the Channel. Medina Sidonia decided the invasion wouldn't succeed and prepared to sail back home, but the route was blocked by English ships, which forced him to sail around the north of the islands, and the longer journey created food and water shortages. The Spanish found themselves in deeper waters where the already damaged fleet encountered stormy weather, which forced many ships onto rocks, destroying them. Although very few ships were lost in battle, only around half of the Spanish ships made it home.
Now, I don't know how much you knew about the Spanish Armada and that battle. I learned so much from that simple video.
Mm-hmm.
History Vids is the name of the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that the ships, that the Spanish remaining Spanish ships had to go up around Scotland to get home because the Brits had them blocked. This was, of course, epic, and it was important in the modern history of the world, because if they had not won, that is, if the Brits hadn't won, who knows what would have happened.
We'd always speak in Spanish.
Well, some of us do, Julia. Not very well. Some of us do. The other thing is, I had no idea about I like that religious meter going back and forth. I mean, I knew there was always a battle.
Yeah, I didn't understand that
Well, the
Yeah.
battle between Catholicism and Protestantism, if
Yeah.
that's a word, the Church of England. I had no idea. Hamish Ross says, boring to you all, but I'm a Tudor via an illegitimate son of Henry VII, grandfather to Elizabeth I. What does that make you, Hamish, besides a bastard? Oh, no, you didn't say that. How did they decide to sit, stand, or kneel during church? Indeed. Clark Chapin says, the start of divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived.
Oh.
Well, Hamish probably knows the history of this better than most because he is a student of history.
Yes.
I thought that video was fabulous.
It is good.
Huh?
Yes, I learned.
So that's what happened, Julia. On this day in history, the defeat of the Spanish Armada, English set alight 8 fire ships with pitch, brimstone, gunpowder, and tar, and cast them downwind toward the closely anchored vessels of the Spanish Armada, scaring the hell out of them and scattering the Armada, which led to their demise this day in history, 7th of August, 1588. So don't you think that was good that
Yes.
I went from Cow's Week? We went from John Emmett to Cow's Week. We got the Brits here being featured on today's show. Celebrating 200 weeks, as we said. Now this is a bit afar, but another Commonwealth report. This coming from Alistair Murray, who sent in an AAAA half a world away.
Yes.
And Alistair has rented a camper van and driven WA with his wife. And it's an astonishing, you know me, I don't like to drive, like Sangmeister's driving across country. Well, Alistair rented this not that one, but a cartoon that he sent. And here is his report.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and all the Fosey. This is Alistair with AAAA. This is just a really quick cheerio from the west coast of Australia. I'm having withdrawal symptoms, having missed many Sailing Illustrateds over the last few weeks because in WA, Sailing Illustrated starts at 4 o'clock in the morning. And even I'm not that dedicated. But just staying in touch and letting you know a little bit about our trip. We picked up my wife Trace and I picked up a camper van in Perth. We've driven all the way up the west coast of Perth, have had some incredible adventures like swimming with the whale sharks. We then headed inland and we went to a mining town called Tom Price, and now I'm at Carragini Gorge Park, which is, as you can see, quite incredible. Trace, I'll do a quick pan around to show you the scenery. It's like the Grand Canyon, only, dare I say it, better. That might not go down so well. Anyway, I will send you just a few photos of our trip. It's got nothing to do with sailing at all, but let's call it a sabbatical in the same way as Tom and Julia had a sabbatical. We all need our breaks from the water. I'm taking mine. We're now driving up to Broome after this, and then catching a luxury cruise from Broome to Darwin. So all I can say is life's great, folks. And remember, life's better with a boat. That was the slogan from the Boating Industry Association promotion some years ago. Life's better with a boat. Over.
Right.
Over. I've been up to Broome. But I didn't drive. We flew up there.
Yeah.
A little puddle jumper. Yeah, during the 85 maybe. But WA, it's massive.
Huge.
And it's fun. And look at the pictures he sent. They were swimming with the whale sharks. And it's a tour operator who takes them out. And
yeah.
I'm sure they're very safe. Here they are on that boat that was out with the whale sharks, and then some of the scenery, of course. I forget the name of the tree. I'm not sure Alistair mentioned it, but we should know that. And just an amazing part of the world, amazing country. When we all went out there in 85, 6, 7, it was the most distant capital city in the world. So I guess it still is. And Alistair has brought it a little closer to our attention with his pictures and
That's
his
a great
video.
picture there.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
And that's Alistair's report for today. His AAAA, Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. The Ryman's got it. Land sailing in a camper. I like that.
Right.
Alistair, practice your French for the cruise, Peter Taylor is saying. Alistair Murray, Super Fuzzy from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you very much. Now, speaking of Melbourne, do you recognize these folks, Julia? You probably won't. But the gentleman on the left,
Yeah.
you know that? It's Chris Fury.
Oh, yeah.
Our Fuzzy from Melbourne. Thank you so much for the awesome Aussie Sandringham welcome. This is the Bacons and Shaban, who's a local, but the Bacons know Shaban, and the Bacons are from Davis Island Yacht Club in Tampa, Florida. And they wrote me, and I think I put them in touch with Alistair, and Alistair stitched up the deal so that when they were traveling from Tampa, they could go visit the Sandringham Yacht Club. We had a great lunch, then walkabout on the docks. Chris, Alistair, please let me know if you are ever in Tampa, and we will host you at the Davis Island Yacht Club. Tom, thanks for the introduction, and hope to see you in Tampa as well. As I've said, Julia, the Davis Island Yacht Club, and that's their Burgee. It looks a lot like the beach. Let's go back to that.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like the like St. Francis Burgee.
It does.
And it looks a lot like the Beach Street Yacht Club Burgee because we stole the St. Francis Burgee. In any event, it's a nice group, and it's amazing now how many, Fozzie have met other Fozzie.
I really love that.
Huh?
Yeah, I really love that.
It's nice, isn't it? And I was just saying, Davis Island Yacht Club down in Tampa, where we raced many Fireball Midwinters. They used to host the maybe still do, Fireball Midwinters in Tampa at the Davis Island Yacht Club. Great stuff. Clark Chapin is saying, let's go to Mary Longpree first. Great trip, Alistair. Be up around there and also been up around there and also did the cruise from Brune to Darwin on Coral Explorer. Enjoy it all. So Mary Longpree, whom I had the great pleasure of seeing last week.
Oh, good.
She's retired from doing photography, but she's still doing plenty of photography, but she's no longer the main photographer. Governor's Cup, Tom Walker is. Clark Chapin, according to Wikipedia, perhaps the Spanish just wanted to, we're back on the Armada, wanted to be invited to Cows Week. Quote, the Spanish were opposed by an English fleet based in Plymouth, faster and more maneuverable than the larger Spanish galleons. Its ships were able to attack the Armada as it sailed up the channel. Several subordinates advised Medina Sidonia first to enter Plymouth Sound and attack the English fleet before it could leave the harbor, and then to anchor in the Solent and occupy the Isle of Wight. But he refused to deviate from his instructions to join with Parma. So that's an interesting, thanks, Clark, on the side, and just these gang, I'd love to see it when Fozzie get introduced to each other, share each other's clubs, just get to know people. And that happens with Ryman down in Cape Town when somebody goes to South Africa. It happens to various people on the continent. It happens with Emmett and Pindar. I mean, Sangmeister was just over there taking, Pindar to breakfast, or Pindar took him to dinner. I can't remember. Great stuff.
It's really lovely. That's another reason to get my plane lined up with everybody.
Yeah, if you'd get your plane bought or chartered, Julia, we could take Fozzie everywhere.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Okay, that gets us to the last leg. We're, an hour and 33 minutes into the show today, so more relaxed. I've really, putting together, I even enjoyed putting the show together today.
Well, it's all happy news.
It was good fun. Well, except the passing of Carlo, but
yes,
we celebrated his life too. The last leg, featuring Scott Joplin and Commodore Claire Harrington on the piano in her apartment in Newport. That's Commodore Harrington. That's Claire. I told you earlier in the show that she's on the celebrated New York Yacht Club cruise, and she is at the helm in every sense of the word. She's at the helm of her 72-footer. I think it's 72 feet. She won a race.
Did she? Good.
This week. So Bravo Zulu to Claire, and she is helming the New York Yacht Club and this cruise, and it is one of the largest cruises in memory, and it's up in Maine, which is not so popular. What they do down Western Long Island Sound or out around the islands, Nantucket, and so it's closer. It's not as far. It's not as expensive for people to get their boats up through the Cape Cod Canal, past Boston and up to Maine. But she's got a massive turnout, massive parties. Bravo Zulu to Commodore Harrington and the New York Yacht Club on a very successful New York Yacht Club cruise. Gary Jobson's with her today on the boat.
Neat.
She sent a picture, but I didn't stick it in the show. The last leg also celebrates a FOSI. And Harkin has put out a series of videos, talk about a video world, put out some really nice videos, including this one about Oak Cliff and Dawn Riley, and featuring Dawn Riley.
Good. Oh, good.
I'm Dawn Riley, Executive Director of Oak Cliff Sailing. Oak Cliff is in its 16th year. We are in Oyster Bay, New York, which is Long Island, just outside of New York City. We have trained over 1,000 athletes in a formal program, and then tens of thousands who have come through the doors and trained and learned and raced, et cetera, et cetera. Our mission is building American leaders through sailing. So whether it's match racing, trying to go to the Olympics, the America's Cup, fixing a sail, sanding a bottom, we're always talking about what are the things that you can do that are correct. How do you do things the right way, the Oak Cliff way? When we started, 16 years ago, people are like, what are you going to call these trainees? And somebody said an acorn, like a little seed that's fallen off of an oak tree. And then we were only 18 above. Then all of a sudden we started finding 15, 16, 17-year-olds, high schoolers that really wanted to come. So we made them acorns, and then the adult saplings, which is a small tree. And then we realized that there's 15-year-olds that are much more mature than some 22-year-olds. So now it's just the acorns are a shorter program where you come in and you're not quite sure what you want to do, so you're trying something out. And saplings are people that stay a whole semester, and we have 3 semesters, so fall, winter, and summer. They also will identify through the summer what positions they do best on shore. So maybe they thought they were going to be a sailmaker and they don't like being on their knees. So then they say, I want to be a rigger. So then they are working in the rigging department with Siri and Luke, and we have Marlowe Ropes or Deck Hardware with Harkin. So then they find a career pathway. Very few people are just professional sailors, but if you can combine a PR skill or a rigging or a composite skill with your sailing skill, you're going to be able to choose this as a career. So if somebody asks me who is like the poster child of the success of Oak Cliff, Sean O'Halloran grew up in Northern California away from the water, sailed at Boy Scout camp, moved to Rhode Island for college, was too big for a dinghy, begged and pleaded for sailing at Johnson & Wales sailing team, got on the dock, bugged everybody for rides on all of the J boats, then applied to the sapling program at Oak Cliff. He was so enthusiastic. The interview lasted 10 times longer than it had to because I was like, yeah, you're in. We need you. We'd love this enthusiasm. We'd love this attitude. Then he came and he trained with us. He was a boat captain in Far 40 Red, just like in the sapling program. Then he became a staff member, and then he tried out in the tryouts that American Magic held at Oak Cliff, and he did he joined American Magic, and then he was on the sailing team as a grinder in New Zealand. Then he became a boat captain, so he did the last campaign with American Magic as the boat captain, and he just moved to Pensacola to join the new America's Cup. And let me just point out, his formal education is as a chef. So people come to Oak Cliff, and even if they know where they're going to end up, rarely is that where they end up. And that's the beauty, and that's something that nobody else has been able to replicate. We copied bits and pieces to form Oak Cliff, and now we're seeing areas copy some things that we're doing, like match racing camps and things like that. But this is the only place you can walk in convinced that you're going to race around the world offshore, discover match racing, try out a WASP, go to the America's Cup foiling, or discover the Olympics and get on an Acra 17, because we have all of the toys, all of the options. The culture at Oak Cliff is supportive as long as you put in the hard work. So if you want to do something, I've got your back, and we will do everything we can to make it happen. We have a team that's the same way. There is no hierarchy. There is no delegation. There's like, how can we do this? And as long as you work hard, you're going to be rewarded. And it's so worth it. So worth it. We're collectively proud of what we've built, and it is the most powerful alumni network in the sport of sailing.
Bravo, Zulu.
Yes, she's done a great job.
She is so enthusiastic. Well, she's from Michigan. What would you expect? Exceedingly bright, exceedingly enthusiastic.
Have you met your new governor?
You mean Senate candidate?
Yeah.
Were you making a political comment here, Julia? After we get off, I'll tell you who my dad voted for. I talked to him. But let's forget about politics. Let's talk about Dawn in Oak Cliff. That, by the way, was Dawn Riley of the USA.
She is terrific.
And she is indeed. And it's Fozy, Julia. We've got Dawn, who's been on the show I don't know how many times. We got Peter Taylor, who's been on. Has Peter been on the show? Yeah, I think we did a photog thing or an ice boat or we did some kind of a photo thing with him. Maybe,
yeah, he wasn't in the studio, but
he wasn't in the studio. But I think we had him on, and we've had Larry Kennedy. We talk about him. We talked about earlier in the show. They both spent a lot of time out. Did you hear her say Long Island?
Yeah, I did.
Dawn. That's what we all, because you know why they say Long Island? The locals.
So, yeah.
Because they call it Long Island lockjaw, because they talk like this with their jaw locked. Long Island.
Oh,
that's the only way you can get. You can't,
I know that
can't
they
say
do.
Long Island if you're got your Long Island lockjaw. So
I never knew why, but I knew that it was all true.
Well, that's from my New York Yacht Club days, and we christened one of our boats, one of the America II boats, out at Kings Point in Long Island.
In Long Island.
Dawn Riley, terrific stuff. Oak Cliff, terrific, and also another Fozy Harcooney, Peter Harkin, whose company this is. His brother sadly has passed away, and he's got great people now running it. That is Harkin Yacht Fittings or Harkin Yacht or just plain Harkin, whatever they call themselves now. Okay, Julia, let's get to your final and favorite segment. Whiskey. I have a hat now that says Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Oh, good.
And I wore it down at Governor's Cup for a day, and
nobody knew what it said.
Nobody knew. And I thought, well, maybe I better not wear it. I was going to wear it on TV, and then I thought, that's a youth regatta. I probably shouldn't wear that. So I had my magic hat that Claire gave me, and I had my M Sailing, Michigan sailing hat. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Here we go. This is not sailing related unless you think of some of the people in our sport. Okay, Mrs. Crenshaw, do you see your peeping Tom? Somebody sent that to me, I'm sure making fun of me. Peeping Tom in the lineup. You see it, Julia?
Yes.
Which one's the peeping Tom?
The middle one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, if you're John Sangmeister, I wonder if people named John resent people using the word John for loo, for bathroom, for restroom. I'm going to the John. I don't say that. I'm going to the head. Do people named Tom resent being called a peeping Tom? I wonder where that came from.
I don't know. Why don't we ask?
We should ask. That came from none other than Clayton Embley.
Oh, good heavens.
In Kentucky. And then this one is sailing related, or at least boating related. Goddamn woodpecker. 2x2 on the Ark. That came from, speaking of Peter Taylor, that came from Peter. And since we haven't done a show in a couple of weeks, I have I could just do a show of funnies.
Oh, well, why not?
Because I think people would think poorly of us, Julie.
Yes.
So that one from Peter Taylor. Thank you. And finally, Blake Middleton, as usual, we like to close with his all the smartest people sail. And with my beloved father, Tom Sr., who loves to say, sailing isn't for everybody, but it is for anybody. Speaking of my dad and who he voted for in the senatorial primary.
Yes.
And more interesting would be who Clark Chapin voted for, Julia. Like, follow, and share is what you like to say.
Yes, do like, follow, and share. It's easy to do. And it makes a lot of difference.
It does indeed. And we leave the comments, if those of you, many people watch in replay, so we leave them open. If you want to comment, please go ahead. But Julia's keen eye, she goes through and reads the comments. And it's one strike and you're out.
Out.
If somebody makes a crude comment, a personal attack, name calling, coarse language, you flick them and then block them.
Yeah, very seldom, actually, though, that I have to do that.
Indeed. Now we're finding out where Peeping Tom comes from. Peter Taylor was the featured guest on show number 491 in 2022. I can't remember that back that far, obviously. Thank you, Clark. Peter is saying, you realize that John has another meaning and the more lascivious. Yes, well, a John is a prostitute's manager, right? So you know that. Yeah. The phrase Peeping Tom comes from the 11th century legend of Lady Godiva. Really?
Oh, I do remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Who rode naked through Coventry, England to protest her husband's heavy taxes. While the townsfolk stayed inside, a tailor named Tom the tailor, peeked at her through his window and was struck blind, creating the archetype for a secret voyeur. Okay. Thierry DeYoung, thank you to you. Ted Ryman, thanks to you. Jody, thank you for appearing on the show, Jody Shields.
Yes.
And if you missed that, that was in the A block. We're celebrating today International Beer Day. And how could you do a show celebrating International Beer Day without
Jody is our man.
Without Jody, and he was great. Okay, we want to thank everybody who supports us via Patreon or otherwise, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Give us a few bucks a month to help keep us on the air. Those of you that do, we want to thank you for your support, because without that support, we only use that money to pay our streaming fees, to buy equipment, and keep us otherwise, Julia, on the air. I don't pay my exorbitant rent using that money.
Maybe we should.
You could increase it.
I was going to say we should increase it.
Well, don't do that. I wouldn't be able to afford food. Okay. Thanks also to everybody who gave us audio, images, and video, courtesy of these folks for today's show. That wraps up 9:43 on this Friday, the 7th of August. We hope you will all come back for our show on Tuesday. We will do a show Tuesday. Julia?
Yes.
God and the internet willing. And you have a comment?
No.
Okay, I have one last comment. And that is, I like to leave the black up there for the black slide with it for a minute. And that is that the sabbatical that Alistair is having is rather different than the sabbatical we had, isn't it? Someday we'll come clean on that.
Well, we'll practice later.
Someday we'll come clean on the sabbatical.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you on Tuesday. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.